Open your fridge right now. Count the things inside it that would still exist without a single farm on the planet. Not many, right? Bread, cereal, milk, pasta, rice. Almost everything you eat traces back to a seed someone planted on purpose. But here's the strange part. For over 95% of the time humans have existed, nobody planted anything. So what were they eating instead? The answer is stranger, messier, and far more varied than meat and berries. And understanding it might explain a few things about your own body that don't quite make sense today. Start about 2 million years ago, long before modern humans even existed. Your ancestors weren't hunting mammoths with spears. They were mostly scavenging. Anthropologist Henry Bunn studied cut marks on ancient animal bones in East Africa and found something telling. Many of those marks sit on top of teeth marks from other predators. That means early hominins weren't always the first ones to the carcass. They were showing up after lions and hyenas had already eaten, cracking open leftover bones for the fatty marrow inside. Not glamorous, but calorie-dense, and apparently enough to fuel brain growth over generations. Alongside that scavenged meat came something you'd probably walk right past today. Roots, tubers, underground starches that had to be dug out of the dirt with sticks or bare hands. Anthropologist Richard Wrangham has argued that access to these starchy underground foods, especially once early humans learned to use fire, may have been just as important to human evolution as meat was. Cooking a tough root turns it into something your gut can actually absorb efficiently. Suddenly, you're getting more energy from less food, and that energy has to go somewhere. A lot of it went straight to fueling a bigger brain. Fast forward past the fire, past the sharpened spears, and you land in the world of hunter-gatherers proper. And here's where the popular image falls apart almost immediately. The phrase is hunter-gatherer. Notice which word comes second. For most documented foraging societies, gathering did the heavy lifting. Anthropologist Richard Lee spent time studying the Ju-Huanzi people of the Kalahari Desert and found that plant foods, particularly a nutrient-dense nut called the mongongo, made up the majority of their caloric intake. Meat was prized, celebrated, shared with elaborate social rituals, but day to day, it was the plants that kept people alive. So picture the actual diet, not the movie version. Nuts, wild greens, berries in season, and only in season. Insects, in many regions, eaten regularly and packed with protein. Fish and shellfish along coastlines and rivers. Occasional large game, which triggered feasts precisely because it was rare, not routine. And root vegetables dug up wherever the digging was good. Here's a detail most people never hear. This diet changed constantly, depending on where in the world you were standing. There was no single paleo diet. A forager near the Arctic Circle was eating almost entirely fat and meat from seals and fish because plants simply weren't an option. A forager in a tropical rainforest was eating dozens of different fruits, tubers, and insects across a single year. Biologist Catherine Milton has documented that some hunter-gatherer groups consumed well over 100 different plant and animal species across a year, compared to the handful of staple crops most people rely on today. That number should stop you for a second. 100 different species. Compare that to your own week. Chances are your entire diet, right now, is built from fewer than 20 plant and animal species, most of them appearing over and over in different packaging. Wheat, corn, soy, and a handful of others show up disguised as dozens of different products on grocery shelves. Your ancestors' gut bacteria dealt with 100 different food sources. Yours deals with a rotating cast of the same 20. This is where the twist comes in, the one nutrition researchers keep circling back to. Your gut microbiome, the trillions of bacteria living in your digestive system, evolved over hundreds of thousands of years expecting variety. Not perfection, not purity, just range. Different fibers, different plant compounds. Different challenges for your gut to adapt to on a rotating basis. Modern diets, even healthy-looking ones, often deliver the opposite. High volume, low variety. Then agriculture arrived, roughly 10,000 years ago, and the entire relationship between humans and food flipped. Suddenly, instead of eating whatever was available across 100 species, communities began relying heavily on just a few. Wheat, rice, corn, skeletal remains from early farming populations, studied extensively by researchers including bioarchaeologist Clark Spencer Larson, show a measurable decline in health compared to hunter-gatherers right before them. Shorter stature, more dental disease, more signs of nutritional stress. Farming produced more total calories and allowed populations to grow explosively. But for the individual body, it was often a downgrade, which raises the real question hiding underneath all of this. If variety, not restriction, was the ancient default, why does modern nutrition advice so often boil down to cutting things out? Maybe because cutting is simple and variety is hard to package into a diet plan. But your gut doesn't know about diet plans. It knows about the 100 species your ancestors used to challenge it with, forcing it to stay flexible, resilient, and diverse. You don't need to forage for tubers or crack open marrow bones to respect that history, but the instinct behind it is worth keeping. Reach for something different than usual. Rotate what shows up on your plate instead of repeating the same 5 meals on a loop. Not because any single food is dangerous, but because your body was built by 100,000 years of unpredictability, not a grocery list of 20 repeating ingredients. So the next time someone tells you humans were designed to eat one perfect ancient diet, you can tell them the truth. There wasn't one diet. There were thousands, shifting by region, by season, by what the ground happened to offer that week. The real ancestral secret was never a specific food. It was range. And the next time you open that fridge and stare blankly at the same 5 things you always buy, remember, somewhere in your gut, 100,000 years of biology is still quietly waiting for something new to show up.